like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
Welcome to the top 50 must-watch horror movie countdown. This isn't about slow burn dramas or artsy political horror. Nope, this list is all about fun, thrills, and pure edge-of-your-seat terror. We're talking shock value, legendary icons, spine-tingling scares, and movies that keep you glued to the screen. If you're looking for deep symbolism and long stretches of nothing happening, go watch The Shining, The Thing, Psycho, or The Witch. But if you want unbiased, high-energy, nonstop horror entertainment, then buckle up because this list is made for you. Number 50, we've got Happy Death Day. Think Groundhog Day, but with a masked killer and way more blood. Tree wakes up on her birthday again and again, only to be murdered every single time. The brilliance is how the film blends slasher thrills with dark comedy. Each reset forces Tree to outsmart her killer, and by the end, she's not just fighting for her life, she's transforming who she is. It's sharp, it's clever, and it proves horror can be as fun as it is frightening. At number 49, A Quiet Place. This one redefines suspense. Imagine a world where one sound, just a whisper, a footstep, a cough, can bring death from creatures that hunt with razor-sharp hearing. Silence isn't just tense, it's survival. John Krasinski crafts a masterclass in atmosphere, with tension so thick you'll hold your breath without realizing it. And that bathtub scene? Pure nightmare fuel. It's a film that proves horror doesn't need endless dialogue. Sometimes, silence screams the loudest. At number 48, we've got Urban Legend. 90s slashers just hit different, and this one takes every creepy story you ever whispered at a sleepover and turns it into blood-soaked reality. Ice scrapers, car back seats, the whole "the call is coming from inside the house" vibe. It's pure nostalgia, pure terror. If you grew up on Goosebumps and graduated to slasher flicks, this movie is like horror high school. At number 47, the Ouija films. Look, board games aren't supposed to summon demons, but tell that to the Parker brothers, right? The first movie sets the stage, but Origin of Evil? That's where things get terrifying. Period piece horror with a child medium that will crawl under your skin and stay there. Those wide-eyed stares, the back bends, it's nightmare fuel. If you ever thought about playing with a Ouija board after watching this, just don't. Sliding in at 46, it's From Dusk Till Dawn. What starts as a gritty crime thriller takes a hard left turn into vampire mayhem. You've got George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino as outlaw brothers, family hostage situation, and then, bam, suddenly, you're in a strip club run by bloodthirsty vampires. It's violent, it's chaotic, it's grindhouse at its finest. The shift in tone is so wild it shouldn't work, but it does. A cult classic that delivers both crime, thrills, and monster carnage. Sliding in at number 45, we've got Wrong Turn. This one is brutal, raw, and absolutely relentless. You're lost in the woods, you think it's just bad luck, and then you realize you're being hunted by a family of inbred cannibals. No GPS, no cell service, no escape. Every branch snap, every shadow feels like death closing in. And the kills? Some of the nastiest you'll ever see in the slasher genre. A backwoods nightmare that makes you think twice about every road trip detour. At number 44, Stephen King's The Mist. On the surface, it's a monster movie, creatures lurking in the fog. But the real horror? The humans trapped inside that supermarket. Fear, paranoia, desperation, it all explodes in one of the most devastating endings in horror history. That final scene still haunts me to this day. At number 43, the ultimate guilty pleasure slasher, I Know What You Did Last Summer. It's 90s horror perfection, pretty teens, a dark secret, and a hook-wielding killer stalking them one by one. And come on, Jennifer Love Hewitt screaming,
What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
It's fun, it's tense, and it's still one of the best rainy night popcorn slashers ever made. Number 42 is pure body horror chaos, Cabin Fever. Forget masked killers. Here, the villain is an unstoppable, flesh-eating virus. You've got a group of friends trapped in the woods, paranoia rising as their skin literally starts to rot away. It's disgusting, it's disturbing, and it taps into that primal fear of infection. Every cut, every cough, every sip of water becomes a death sentence. You'll never look at shaving your legs or pancakes the same way again. At number 41, the underrated space horror life. Think Alien, but with a fresh twist. Astronauts discover a new life form on Mars, and of course, it doesn't stay friendly for long. The tension is suffocating, the visuals are stunning, and the creature design for Calvin is genuinely terrifying. What makes this film so brutal is its bleakness. No one is safe, no one is coming to help, and space is the coldest killer of all. Coming in at 40, it's Split, a psychological horror masterclass. James McAvoy gives one of the most chilling performances of the decade, shifting between multiple personalities, each scarier than the last. And then, of course, there's The Beast. The film keeps you on edge with suspense, but it's McAvoy's dedication to the role that makes it unforgettable. It's intimate horror with a shocking twist that ties directly into M. Night Shyamalan's universe. Number 39 is a fan favorite, Silent Hill. Based on the legendary video game, this movie nails atmosphere. Fog-choked streets, peeling walls, and grotesque monsters like Pyramid Head bring the nightmare to life. It's eerie, unsettling, and drenched in symbolism. And at number 38, the mind-bending thriller, The Butterfly Effect. On the surface, it's about time travel, but at its core it's about regret, trauma, and the terrifying truth that every choice has consequences. Ashton Kutcher delivers a surprisingly dark performance, and the film's alternate endings are some of the bleakest you'll ever see. It's not just scary, it's existential horror. Because sometimes the scariest thing isn't monsters, it's yourself. At number 37, it's World War Z, and wow, talk about zombie chaos on a global scale. This isn't your slow, shuffling undead. These zombies sprint, swarm, and pile on top of each other like a tidal wave of death. The Jerusalem Wall scene alone is pure nightmare fuel. Brad Pitt brings the drama, but it's that sense of global collapse that makes this one unforgettable. It's edge-of-your-seat horror that'll have you imagining what you would do if society crumbled overnight. Number 36 is I Am Legend, where Will Smith carries an entire apocalyptic nightmare almost on his own. It's lonely, it's heartbreaking, and those infected, they're part vampire, part zombie, and 100% terrifying. The bond between Robert Neville and his dog Sam, that's the emotional core that makes the scares hit even harder. The silence of an empty New York City is chilling, and when the monsters strike, you feel it in your bones. A modern survival horror classic. Number 35 is the cult classic 13 Ghosts. Look, the story might be wild, but the ghosts, they're unforgettable. From the Juggernaut to the Jackal, each one is a nightmare brought to life. That glass house of shifting walls becomes a death trap filled with creative kills and nonstop tension. It's stylish, it's gory, and it has that early 2000s horror vibe we all secretly love. Every horror fan remembers their first time seeing those ghosts and never sleeping the same again. At number 34, we've got The Faculty, a glorious mix of high school drama and sci-fi paranoia. Imagine Breakfast Club meets Invasion of the Body Snatchers. The teachers? Taken over by creepy alien parasites. The students? The only ones who can fight back. It's got Josh Hartnett, Elijah Wood, and a whole lot of late 90s attitude. Funny, freaky, and full of cult classic energy. This movie is proof that sometimes your teachers really are out to get you. Number 33 is the remake of House on Haunted Hill, and what a ride it is. A group of strangers lured to a haunted asylum with the promise of a cash prize, only to find themselves trapped inside with vengeful spirits. The scares are stylish, the setting is pure nightmare fuel, and Jeffrey Rush absolutely hams it up as the eccentric host. It's campy, it's creepy, and it's the kind of funhouse horror that makes you scream and laugh at the same time. And at number 32, we're checking in a 1408, and trust me, you'll never look at a hotel room the same way again. John Cusack plays a skeptical writer who gets trapped in a room that doesn't just want to scare him, it wants to break him. This isn't jump scares, it's psychological torment. bending reality until you're as lost as he is. At number 31, it's The Grudge, the American remake that still sends chills down the spine. That cursed house, that croaking death rattle, and that infamous scene with the ghost crawling down the stairs. Instant nightmares. Sarah Michelle Gellar leads the charge, but it's Kayako and her terrifying son Toshio who steal the show. You don't just watch The Grudge, you feel like the curse is following you home. Sleep tight if you can. Number 30 is The Descent, one of the most claustrophobic and terrifying films ever made. A group of friends go cave diving and discover they aren't alone down there. The darkness, the tight tunnels, the primal screams. This movie weaponizes fear of the unknown like nothing else. And when the creatures finally reveal themselves, absolute nightmare fuel. It's survival horror at its rawest, and it will make you rethink that next hiking trip. And at number 29, we've got Constantine. Keanu Reeves as a chain-smoking exorcist caught in a war between heaven and hell. Yes, please. This film oozes atmosphere, demonic battles, angelic politics, and visuals that are as stylish as they are disturbing. Plus, Tilda Swinton as an androgynous Gabriel, and Peter Stormare's unforgettable turn as Lucifer. Chef's kiss. It's dark, it's gothic, and it's one of the coolest blends of horror and comic book lore ever put on screen. At number 28, it's Zack Snyder's remake of Dawn of the Dead, and wow, does it deliver. From the opening chaos to that mall fortress, this is zombie horror turned up to 11. These aren't the slow shamblers of old. They sprint, they swarm, they overwhelm. The tension never lets up, and that ending? Brutal. It's stylish, it's bloody, and it's one of the best modern zombie films ever made. Number 27 is Escape Room. And if you thought your local escape game was stressful, imagine if the puzzles were designed to kill you. Every room is a death trap. Every clue is a lifeline. And the creativity of the set pieces makes this a thrill ride from start to finish. The sequel keeps the pace going, but the original? That's where the terror began. It's fun, it's frantic, and it's horror for puzzle lovers everywhere. At number 26, we've got Eli Roth's Hostel. This is torture horror at its rawest. Backpackers lured to a European paradise, only to be sold into a nightmare where the wealthy pay to inflict pain. It's brutal, shocking, and unapologetically graphic, cementing the torture porn wave of the mid-2000s. But beneath the gore, it taps into a real fear. At number 25, we've got Ghost Ship, a film remembered forever for one of the greatest opening scenes in horror history. That wire scene? You know the one. But beyond that, it's a haunting tale of treasure hunters trapped on a cursed vessel, stalked by vengeful spirits. Creepy visuals, eerie atmosphere, and just the right amount of gore, it's one of those movies that sails straight into horror cult classic status. And at number 24, it's The Strangers. Few movies capture pure, unrelenting dread like this one. A quiet cabin, a couple trying to reconnect, and masked intruders who simply ask, "Is tomorrow home?" From that moment, you know it's going to be a nightmare. The scariest part? They're not supernatural. They're just people killing because you were home. That randomness, that hopelessness, it's chilling. This is home invasion horror at its most terrifying. At number 23, we've got the Purge franchise, a concept so chilling because it feels like it could actually happen. One night a year, all crime is legal. No rules, no cops, just survival. From the creepy masks to the chaos in the streets, every film ups the stakes. It's political commentary wrapped in blood-soaked terror, and it makes you wonder, what would you do if the Purge sirens went off tonight? That's horror that hits home. And at number 22, Jordan Peele's Us. Peele doesn't just make horror. He makes horror that sticks with you long after the credits roll. The idea that your perfect double is out there, waiting in the shadows, wanting your life, that's bone-chilling. The performances, especially Lupita Nyong'o as both Adelaide and her terrifying doppelganger Red, are Oscar-worthy. Add in that unnerving Hands Across America imagery and a soundtrack that flips hip-hop into pure nightmare fuel. It's modern horror brilliance. Number 21 is the Spielberg-produced classic Poltergeist. Creepy clowns, possessed TVs, and that unforgettable line. This movie brought ghost stories into suburbia, showing us that even picture-perfect families aren't safe from the supernatural. The special effects were groundbreaking for the time, and the scares still hold up decades later. It's haunting, it's emotional, and it's one of the most influential ghost films ever made. At number 20, we dive into the Resident Evil franchise, zombies, monsters, and the sinister Umbrella Corporation. These movies blend action with horror, giving us iconic battles, apocalyptic settings, and of course, Alice, played by Mila Jovovich, kicking undead but in style. While fans of the games may debate the adaptations, the franchise carved its own cult following. It's popcorn horror with adrenaline to spare, and it made survival horror a blockbuster spectacle. And at number 19, it's the killer doll who somehow became one of horror's most beloved icons. Chucky proves you don't need to be tall to be terrifying. Brad Dourif's voice work is legendary, mixing menace with wicked humor.
Ugly doll. Fuck you.
You goddamn women drivers!
Violence in movies and television is one of the worst problems facing our society.
What's your name, buddy? Chucky. Son of a bitch!
Whether he's stabbing, scheming, or cracking one-liners, Chucky always delivers. He's pint-sized terror with a giant legacy. Number 18 is one of the most brutal remakes ever. The Hills Have Eyes. A family stranded in the desert falls prey to mutated cannibals lurking in the hills. It's raw, it's shocking, and it doesn't pull any punches. The violence is relentless, the villains are grotesque, and the tension is unbearable. This is horror at its most savage, unflinching survival terror that leaves you shaken long after the credits roll. At number 17, it's Insidious. James Wan takes the haunted house formula and flips it into astral projection terror. The Lambert family isn't haunted. Their son is lost in the further, a shadowy realm crawling with demons. The red-faced entity? Still nightmare fuel. But what makes Insidious so effective is its pacing, quiet, eerie build-up followed by jump scares that hit like a sledgehammer. At number 16, The Conjuring. This is the gold standard of modern supernatural horror. Based on the real cases of Ed and Lorraine Warren, it tells the story of a family plagued by a relentless presence in their farmhouse. James Wan masterfully blends atmosphere, character, and scare tactics into a relentless crescendo. The clapping hands in the dark. Legendary. But it's not just about scares. The heart of the film lies in the Warrens themselves, making the terror feel grounded and real. The Conjuring doesn't just haunt you, it stays with you. And at number 15, it's Stephen King's chilling tale, Pet Sematary. Sometimes dead is better, and no movie proves that more than this one. Whether you prefer the original or the 2019 remake, the story cuts deep. Grief, desperation, and the horrifying consequences of trying to cheat death. The image of Gage with that scalpel? Pure nightmare fuel. This isn't just horror, it's tragedy wrapped in terror, reminding us some things should never come back. At number 14, it's Scream. Ghostface isn't just a killer, he's a cultural icon. Wes Craven reinvented the slasher with sharp satire and meta-commentary, giving horror fans both laughs and brutal kills. Sidney Prescott is one of the strongest final girls in the genre, and the phone call scenes? Legendary. This franchise doesn't just scare you, it talks to you about horror while doing it.
Rules. You don't... Jesus Christ, you don't know the rules?
I have an aneurysm, why don't you?
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie. And number 3, never, ever, ever, under any circumstances say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.
I'm getting another beer. You want one?
Yeah, sure.
I'll be right back!
Endlessly quotable. At number 13, it's the stylish, blood-sucking cult classic, The Lost Boys. Vampires have never looked this cool. The 80s soundtrack, the leather jackets, the boardwalk at night, it's pure gothic fun. Kiefer Sutherland as David, iconic. This film mixes teen rebellion with supernatural horror, creating a vibe that's part rock concert, part nightmare. It's scary, it's sexy, and it gave us one of the greatest vampire lines ever.
Now you know what you are. You'll never grow old, Michael. And you'll never die. But you must feed.
Legendary. Number 12 is Jeepers Creepers, a monster movie that feels like an urban legend come to life. That opening highway scene with the truck tailgating, still terrifying. The creeper itself is one of horror's most unique villains. Part demon, part scavenger, all nightmare. Every 23rd spring, it comes to feed, and when it does, you better hope it's not your turn. It's creepy, it's gory, and it's cemented its place in horror history. And at number 11, it's The Ring. That cursed videotape changed horror forever. Watch it, and 7 days later, you die. Naomi Watts delivers a gripping performance, but it's Samara who steals the show, crawling out of the TV in one of the most iconic horror moments of all time. The atmosphere is drenched in dread, the imagery is haunting, and the mystery keeps you hooked from start to finish. This isn't just a movie, it's a curse you never forget. Kicking off the top 10, we head to the frozen wastelands of Alaska with 30 Days of Night. Imagine being trapped in a town where the sun doesn't rise for a month, and then the vampires come. These aren't suave, romantic vampires. These are savage, bloodthirsty predators. The atmosphere is chilling, the kills are vicious, and the sense of hopelessness is overwhelming. It's a unique twist on vampire horror and one of the most intense survival stories ever filmed. Number 9 is the legendary Final Destination franchise. Death itself is the villain, and there's no hiding. The Rube Goldberg-style kill sequences are creative, brutal, and unforgettable. Airplanes, highways, tanning beds, you name it. What makes it so scary is that it plays on everyday fears. You'll never look at a log truck or a roller coaster the same way again. Fate always finds a way, and that inevitability is the scariest part. At number 8, we've got Fright Night, a vampire movie with charm, wit, and plenty of bite. The 1985 original is pure 80s horror fun, and the 2011 remake holds its own with slick modern flair. A teenager discovers his neighbor is a vampire, but of course, no one believes him. Classic setup, legendary payoff. The effects are wild, the performances are killer, and it blends horror with humor in a way that never gets old. A true cult favorite. At number 7, it's Pennywise isn't just a clown, he's the clown. Bill Skarsgård's chilling performance brought Stephen King's Nightmare back to life, with those deadlights eyes, that twisted smile, and a voice that gets under your skin. The Losers Club gave us heart, friendship, and courage, but Pennywise? He gave us pure terror, haunting sewers, balloons, and childhood fears. Chapter 1 was a coming-of-age horror masterpiece, and Chapter 2 tied it all together in epic fashion. IT isn't just a movie, it's a cultural reset that made an entire generation scared of clowns all over again. Number 6 brings us into the twisted world of Hellraiser. Pinhead and the Cenobites aren't your average villains. They're priests of pain, dragging you into realms of torment you can't even imagine. Clive Barker's vision is grotesque, poetic, and unforgettable. From the puzzle box to the chains and hooks, this franchise gave us some of the most iconic imagery in horror history. We have such sights to show you, and trust me, they're burned into your brain forever. At number 5, we meet Leatherface in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Few films feel this raw, this disturbing, this real. The whine of the chainsaw, the masks of human skin, the sun-baked nightmare of a cannibal family in the Texas heat. This is horror at its most primal. The original is a masterpiece of dread, and the sequels and remakes keep the legend alive. It's relentless, it's brutal, and it's the granddaddy of backwoods terror. At number 4, it's Saw, a game that changed horror forever. Jigsaw isn't your typical killer. He doesn't murder, he tests. Those twisted traps, the ticking clocks, the desperate choices. Saw made audiences squirm in theaters and think about the value of their own lives. The original film redefined horror in the 2000s, and the franchise built a mythology of betrayal, apprentices, and moral lessons drenched in blood. Do you want to play a game? Isn't just a line, it's a challenge to the audience. Saw is horror that makes you suffer right along with the victims. Number 3 is Halloween. Michael Myers isn't just a killer. He's the embodiment of pure, unstoppable evil. From John Carpenter's haunting score to that blank, emotionless mask, Halloween defined the slasher genre and changed horror forever. Laurie Strode, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, became the ultimate final girl, facing down the boogeyman across decades of sequels and reboots. But here's the thing, you can't just stop at the original. Every single entry in this franchise adds to the legend of Haddonfield. Some dive deeper into Michael's mythology, some ramp up the kills, and others bring back old favorites for one more showdown. Whether it's the chilling return of the Shape in the 2018 reboot, or the chaos of Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, each movie keeps the spirit alive. This isn't a one-and-done horror flick, it's a marathon, a generational story that's just as fun to binge with family and friends today as it was terrifying back in 1978. And number 2, we head to Camp Crystal Lake. Jason Voorhees isn't just a villain, he's a pop culture juggernaut. From his tragic backstory to that iconic hockey mask, Jason became the face of fear for an entire era. The kills are wild, the atmosphere is chilling, and the body count? Legendary. But here's what makes Friday the 13th essential. You have to watch all of them. Each sequel adds a new flavor. The birth of Jason in Part 2, the mask reveal in Part 3, his unstoppable rage in the final chapter, and even the gonzo insanity of Jason X in space. You get slashers, revenge tales, supernatural twists, and even epic crossovers like Freddy vs. Jason. Binging the franchise isn't just watching horror, it's an event. Grab some friends, line up the movies, and let Jason slash his way through a marathon night. From campgrounds to Manhattan rooftops, Jason proves why Friday the 13th is more than a franchise. It's a ritual. And finally, at number 1, the dream demon himself, Freddy Krueger. We chose Freddy because he was unlike anything that came before. He doesn't stalk you in the woods. He doesn't creep through your house. He kills you where you're most vulnerable, in your dreams. His burned face, striped sweater, and razor glove became instantly recognizable across the globe. But Freddy isn't just about the first film. Every sequel builds on the surreal playground of nightmares. Dream Warriors brought in fantasy powers. Dream Master and Dream Child pushed the mythology further, and even New Nightmare broke the fourth wall years before meta-horror was mainstream. Each entry keeps Freddy fresh, bizarre, and endlessly entertaining. Freddy is terrifying enough to unsettle adults, yet fantastical enough to capture younger audiences' imaginations. And let's be honest, no one delivers one-liners like him. Watching the whole series is more than a horror binge. It's like stepping into a carnival of nightmares with friends, where the rules don't apply and anything can happen. A Nightmare on Elm Street isn't just a franchise, it is horror history. Freddy doesn't just haunt your dreams, he's woven into the fabric of pop culture itself. And that wraps up our countdown of the top 50 must-watch horror movies. If you've seen all of these, you are officially a true horror fan. But now we want to hear from you. Which one is your favorite? Which one will you be watching next? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We love seeing your horror picks. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more epic countdowns. Until next time, sweet dreams.